We are Maria
and Nicole. We're two secular homeschooling moms that have
been there, done that. Travel offers so many great opportunities for homeschoolers to expand their horizons beyond textbooks and traditional classrooms. By venturing out into the world, homeschool families can bring lessons to life through immersive experiences. Whether it's touring landmarks and historical sites, experiencing different cultures and cuisine, or exploring the natural world, educational travel ignites a sense of curiosity and wonder in students of all ages.
Homeschoolers can customize their itineraries to align with their educational goals, fostering a deeper understanding of subjects like history, science, geography. Additionally, these journeys provide real-world lessons in independence, problem-solving, and adaptability, which helps you develop essential life skills. In today's episode, we're going to talk about how educational travel empowers homeschoolers to learn through direct experiences and create lasting memories that will enrich their education in profound ways. And as usual, we want to stress that our podcast is an inclusive space for your everyday parents that are looking for education options. We are not here to convince you to homeschool. We want to stress that you need to do what works for your child and for your family.
Every family is different.
Absolutely. And you know your children best. So feel free to take what advice or information you get from here that works for you and chuck the rest.
Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Maria. How are things going?
You walk in my house and there's plastic sheeting covering all my furniture. You're wondering what is going on here.
You've got a big project going on that I did not know was going to happen.
Well, I kind of didn't know it was going to happen too. I had some cracks. You know, this summer was so hot and it was really hard on my house. So I have some cracking and, you know, everybody's house, they're shifting. And I had a guy come over to repair some drywall. And now I'm remodeling my kitchen.
Oh my goodness.
If you give my mouse a cookie.
Yeah, I saw all your cabinets are out in the yard.
It's insane. Oh my gosh. Well, what's going on at your house?
Well, I went to bed early last night so I could get up to record early, and my husband came and woke me up and was like, "Hey, there's something in the garage that you need to see." And I was like, "Well, what?" He's like, "You need to come and you're probably going to have to call somebody." And I was like, "Oh my God, is it a snake? I'll get it." But no, it wasn't. It was a dog.
A dog?
Yeah, it's a big blue heeler, which I have a blue heeler.
You do? I love Kirby.
Yeah, well, now there's two of them. And yeah, so I'm trying to find Blue. His name is Blue. He does have a tag. He's got a phone number, but nobody's answering. So yeah, we had a slumber party. I guess I have 3 dogs this morning.
So they all get along?
Maureen has not met Blue. Kirby has met Blue, and they're both boys. They're just
are they best friends now?
Well, they're duking it out.
Oh,
I guess you can say.
So it's not the perfect fit for
your
family.
Well, it might be true love. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Okay. Well, I mean, we love all love.
Yeah, but I've got a busy day, and Blue needs to get situated. Otherwise, he's going to be traveling with me in the car all day. I don't know what to do with him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, hopefully the owner answers their phone.
I guess so. My husband wanted to turn the dog out, and I was like, well, wouldn't you want our dogs to stay safely in someone's garage all night if they ended up somewhere else? You don't want our dogs roaming the neighborhood. They're crazy.
They could get hit by a car, anything.
I know.
No, you got to find the owner.
Yep. So #save Blue. We're going to get Blue back to their house. But, speaking of travel, Blue's travel times, I love to travel too. And one of the reasons that we made the choice to homeschool so that we had more flexibility to our schedules, we could fit more travel in.
Oh, totally. Same here. I hated being tied to a classroom when I was younger, and I really wanted more for my kids. And we always just loved to pick up and go whenever we wanted. And I prefer to travel to those busier tourist places when it's the off season. I mean, Disney in the wintertime when school's in session is the best.
Oh my gosh, right? Who wants to go in the summertime? I don't.
Yeah.
Not at all. And, one of my friends' last straw for turning to homeschooling was when her daughter was about to go on stage at the World Irish Dance Championships. We're over in Ireland, and the school called to tell her she was over her allotted days of excused absences, and she'd be marked truant. My friend was like, "Are you kidding me? We're living this incredible experience right here that is way more important than being in school."
Stupid. Oh my gosh. Yeah. A lot of people feel that being tied to that public school schedule really is so restrictive.
It is.
We have a lot of friends who road school too, and they spend huge chunks of their school year on the road, whether it's in a camper overseas or in a homeschool house swap situation. That's a really cool deal.
Yeah.
There's a homeschool world schooling forum where you can arrange for homeschoolers to come house sit for you, which is, I think that's a pretty cool deal. I've never done that.
Oh, it's awesome. Like 2 of our friends have done this.
Yeah.
The Crouches did that this summer, and it's brought them to, they went to a completely different state. They were staying on like somebody's little farm. They had to take care of the animals, and you get to live a kind of a cool life, and the other people are excited to have somebody taking care of their family in their house.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's so many opportunities to be had for an education vacation that fits any budget. All it really takes is a little planning and organization, and today we're going to tell you just how to do that. And so let's get started. So how do I even plan an educational vacation?
Well, designing the ideal educational road trip or vacation is an opportunity to learn about new places, cultures, history, and science in a fun and interactive way. So we're going to lay out like a step-by-step guide to help you plan an educational road trip or vacation. And keep in mind, too, I kind of went a different direction as I was kind of writing this out, but you can also just add educational things to your existing vacation. Like, you don't have to totally go out and plan like a vacation solely around education, but if you want to, we're going to tell you how.
Yeah, a lot of homeschoolers do like to do that. So the first thing you want to do is lay out your goals. So what are your specific educational objectives and goals? What subjects or topics do you want to explore? Is it history, science, art, culture, or even nature? Have you been studying about caves and now it's time to experience them in person and go spelunking? Think about what you want for your kids to learn and experience. And you also want to make sure to consider their age and interests of really everyone going. It might be a whole family. You may be taking extra kids on your trip. So you want to tailor the trip to engage everyone. Even us moms get to have fun too.
Right. And don't feel like you have to wait on this kind of thing until your like youngest is older. It's easy to come up with a reason to put a trip off at every stage, honestly. Every stage is different. I remember asking a friend who was going on a huge trip with her family and her baby if it was crazy to take her baby because they weren't going to remember the destination. But she told me they may not remember the trip, but they are always going to remember being a family that always had fun together. And I thought that was really sweet.
That is sweet. So the next thing you want to do is choose the destination. You want to select a route that aligns with your goals. Research places that offer opportunities for hands-on learning and exploration. Consider both well-known attractions and hidden gems that may be less crowded but equally informative and fun. Sometimes those off-the-beaten-track places are the best experiences and memories.
Right, and consider eco-friendly tourism too. Visit the not-so-busy areas or take the non-commercial tours and sightseeing options.
Yeah. So the next thing you want to do is plan the itinerary and your budget. I'm big on budgets. So create a detailed itinerary that includes the places you're going to visit, their hours of operation, and any special events or exhibits that you want to see.
Yeah, and the free resource that Maria created this week is really going to help you organize and plan your itinerary.
Yeah. You want to allocate sufficient time at each location to explore and learn without feeling rushed.
Right, include some downtime for relaxation and for spontaneous discoveries. And include the kids in this process, too. This is the fun part.
Yeah, that's part of the learning part right there.
Yeah, you can get them really excited about this.
It's really important to figure out a budget for all the things you want to do on your trip. Room and board, entry tickets for adventures, souvenirs, etc.
Yeah, we liked that. I don't know if you remember that old Rachel Ray show. It was called $40 a Day.
I do.
And she would take these trips where that was her food budget, and she would show all the things that she ate to fit that. Like, she usually did like a $10 breakfast and a $15 lunch and a $20 dinner, and I need a little bit more money nowadays for that, thanks inflation. But it's still a good rule of thumb to set like a price point for each day. And we often in my family will do like just coffee in the morning and then like a brunch and a dinner. That way we can kind of get more bang for our buck. And of course you can also, get groceries if you have a fridge, or, make coffee in your hotel room, any of that stuff.
Yeah, and you want to make sure to choose your housing wisely. This is often the most expensive part of your trip, so consider your options. Do you want to stay in an RV, an Airbnb, or VRBO, a hotel or hostel, or maybe even a tent.
I love a tent.
Yeah. Do you want something cheaper outside of town or maybe something in town that's really walkable? This could mean that you don't have to rent a car or pay a lot for shuttles. And do you even need a kitchen? You talked about cooking. We always pack food. I try to eat out and experience the local cuisine, but not every meal because it can really add up.
Yeah, I often like staying in an Airbnb so I can have my kitchen and I can bring a lot of my own food or at least cook like one meal a day in there. But sometimes all you really need is a place to stash your belongings.
Yeah.
I love staying somewhere walkable with a kitchen so we can get groceries, bit by bit and explore the local area that way. But some people also like renting a room. Remember when Airbnb first started out, it was really like renting rooms in somebody's house. Like, I'm not brave enough for that, but a lot of my friends have done that, and that's kind of cool because you end up with like a local guide, like a free local guide there in your
all
house.
The good spots.
But sometimes if you are just staying, you just need a place to like lay your head at night in a hotel. There's places like I found last summer in Boston. There's a thing that's kind of like an Airbnb but for bags. You can stash your bags at like a store or somewhere and then be out all day and then come back and get them. So if you have like a late flight and you had to check out early, it's a really cool option.
I could have used that for my most recent trip, but we were trying to be on the beach all day.
Oh, yeah. And where are you going to put your stuff? You don't want to drag your suitcase down in the sand. Well, I'll link to the place. I can't remember the name right now, but I'll find it and link it for you guys because it ended up being a really cool thing.
Okay, so the next thing you want to do is prepare educational materials, guidebooks, maps, relevant worksheets, or activities. Consider using educational apps or audiobooks for interactive learning while you're on the road. Podcasts are really great for this too.
Yeah. Study in advance. Encourage your family to read some books or watch documentaries or engage in online courses related to your destination or topics of interest. Jack and I conveniently watched the movie Belfast on our way to Belfast last year on the airplane. It just happened to be on there.
Random?
We were like, perfect. I was reading a book about Northern Ireland, so I had done some research because, they've got a wild history. And I wanted some better understanding, but then also the movie happened to come out last year. So it was perfect timing for us.
You could also create a list of questions or research topics to investigate during the trip. A lot of people also like to do unit studies and then they study and then the trip is kind of like the finale to the unit study.
Yeah. And I happen to have like a big box of beach stuff like shell books and all of this stuff because we do go to the beach often. My parents live at the beach. So, a lot of that stuff is stuff you probably already have on hand. Also, exploring nature. Incorporate outdoor activities like hiking, wildlife observation, visits to national parks. We have a lot of friends who do big national park circuits like every year. And nature provides numerous opportunities for learning about biology, geology, ecology.
Yeah, we also like to rent bikes, or we've done scooters. When we were in New York, we rented a scooter to do Central Park. We also love to do Segway tours rather than just sit on a bus. The tour guides always are like they know all the good places, all the local places that you might not be able to find just on those touristy spots.
Right. It gets you in and out of some cool areas too that maybe a bus doesn't fit sometimes. You can also visit museums and educational sites. We have a whole field trip episode because we love doing this stuff.
We do.
I am totally the person that'll stop on the side of the road for like these tiny small town museums. My kids are sometimes like, no, just keep going. Keep going past that. We can tell you what's in there. But, museums, science centers, historical sites, cultural institutions, they all offer valuable educational experiences. We like to look for real hands-on exhibits, interactive displays, guided tours. We also often like to purchase some of our educational resources, our guidebooks or other supplemental materials in places where you know that money is going directly back to the site.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You want to make sure you experience the local culture. We love to experience traditional foods and interacting with the locals. You may even attend a cultural festival or even plan your entire trip around attending a specific cultural festival. Learning about different cultures fosters global awareness and appreciation. We talked about that in our episode called Around the World in Your Homeschool, and we went all through that about bringing culture and facts into your homeschool.
It's awesome. Also find local guides, especially when visiting a place that's foreign to you. Then they may place emphasis on respecting the cultures and traditions of your destination. We had one of our friends recently took a trip this summer in Asia, and talked about even though she was in a city that her husband grew up in, they hired the local guide just to navigate, the train system and things like that, and kind of show them around, get them into some of the off the normal grid places for meals.
I was so jealous of that trip.
Oh my
gosh,
gosh,
so good.
Yeah, she does some really great trips.
You can also encourage everyone to keep travel journals, sketchbooks, or even blog to document their experiences and reflections. I love to blog, and that's a really great way for kids to learn that part of documenting too. Take photos and videos to create a visual record on the trip, and then you can post them to there. I like to take an actual camera so I'm not distracted with my smartphone, which I keep in my bag, and I have my kids keep them in their bags so they're not out on their phone. Yeah.
And don't forget to bring educational tools if you need them, like binoculars or magnifying glasses, field guides, or like a telescope for stargazing, depending on what your interests are and what your trip includes. And after the trip, engage in some follow-up activities like creating presentations or like a report or an art project to reinforce what was learned. It's kind of like when you were in school and your first project every year was, what did I do on my summer vacation?
Yeah, and be sure to allow room for flexibility and spontaneity. Sometimes the most valuable learning experiences come from those unexpected discoveries.
Right. And prioritize safety by following travel advisories, taking necessary precautions, especially when you're traveling with children. During COVID, this was obviously really necessary for a while. We would have to check, travel restrictions for different countries and, figure out what we needed to do. So always check travel restrictions.
Finally, remember that the journey itself is an educational experience. Embrace the opportunity to learn and bond as a family or a group. An educational road trip or vacation can be a memorable and enriching adventure that inspires a lifelong love for learning and exploration.
I love it. So just a reminder that this is a weekly episode. We drop one every Thursday morning just for you. And if you have any additional ideas or comments, please come and comment on our Facebook page, on the episode thread, or send us an email at info@btdthomeschool.com. We'd really love to hear from you. So what kind of activities should we include on an educational vacation?
There's so many activities you can partake in to make the most of your educational journey. Join guided tours or historical sites, museums, and cultural landmarks. Knowledgeable guides can offer in-depth information and context that enhances your understanding of the place that you're visiting.
Many museums and cultural institutions offer hands-on workshops and interactive exhibits. Participating in these activities can help you gain practical skills and a deeper appreciation for the subject matter. We used to live near St. Augustine, Florida, and they had a couple really great hands-on museum type places. And one time we were in a Timucuan hut learning about the indigenous people, and I had my baby strapped to me and my two little kids, and they were passing around this coconut. And so Jack had the coconut and he shook it, and as he did, something crawled out of the coconut.
No, what was it?
It's something that we don't like to talk about. Yeah, and you know what I did? You know what a great mom I am? What? I took my baby only because she was strapped to me, and I ran out of the hut. I left him.
Oh my gosh.
I left him with a bunch of people to get rid of the creature.
No.
So that was a fun hands-on experience.
Don't like that story. Well, and that kind of leads into immersing yourself in the local culture. That's an important part of it. This can include attending traditional ceremonies too. Sometimes that's really cool. Right. Try local cuisine. We talked about that earlier. But also just interacting with those local residents to learn about their way of life.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just don't shake the coconut.
Oh, stop.
If your educational vacation takes you to a natural setting, consider activities like hiking and bird watching or guided nature tours. We've gone horseback riding, trail riding in different places. Yeah. These experiences can teach you about the local environment and ecosystems. If your destination is a natural setting, you can also consider, what they have going on. Like if you're out in the boonies, go stargazing. You can often see so much more, out when you're away from city lights and light pollution. Maybe you even take a survival skills training class.
Yeah,
that would be fun.
Stargazing makes me think. Out in West Texas, I've spent many, many nights where there's nothing around, and unless you've experienced that, you have to get your kids out there. It's so cool.
It's really breathtaking.
Yeah, it is. If you're visiting a place with a different language, consider taking language classes or engaging in language exchange programs to improve your communication skills.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just some of the conversational skills are really good for kids to know.
Right, or learn some vocab stuff that you're going to see on a menu or something. It's easy to introduce this very briefly. Attend historical reenactments if available. These events can transport you back in time and provide a more vivid understanding of historical events.
Yeah, that's true. Check local event listings for lectures or talks on topics of interest. Universities and cultural centers and even libraries often host educational events open to the public.
Yeah, you can also attend local theater productions or live shows. We went to like a Shakespeare in the Park in Vancouver. They've got like a huge one like over on this little island.
Yeah,
really
and
cool.
Also, the local libraries and archives, you can delve deeper into the history, the culture, or the specific topics related to your destination. Presidential libraries are a really cool place to visit, too. We love when there's one here in Dallas.
Oh, yeah. We're like big fans of presidential libraries. You can also take a cooking class to learn about the local cuisine and how to prepare traditional dishes. This is a really excellent way to explore culture through food. A lot of cities offer food tourism, too. Like maybe you can do a progressive dinner through several different restaurants, trying different things. That's a neat way to experience.
Seek out specialized educational centers and institutions related to your interests, such as botanical gardens, science centers, and historical archives. If you have a membership to a museum with a reciprocal program, you can see all of these places for free.
Yeah, we'll post links to those two that we talked about in our field trip episode. There's the ASTC, the American Science Center something, and there's also the American Horticultural Society.
Yeah,
and
we'll
both
put the
of
links
those
in the website.
We will, yeah. So
So
you don't have to remember what T stands for. But yeah, there's all kinds of great programming like that can save you some money. You can also explore on your own with pre-researched materials or audio guides. Self-guided tours can be real flexible and tailored to your interests. That is something I love doing, especially if I'm traveling overseas and I want to kind of limit that jet lag from kicking in right away. Like we get off the plane and we hit a walking tour right away. And one of the things that we've used is a site called GPS My City. It's a really cool app, and you can kind of see what the different locations are and make your own customized map. And it's really neat, and it tells you about it every place that you go. And I think I did a blog post on this once, so we'll link that too.
Yeah, and you can also do some geocaching while you're there and find some geocaches. Yeah. You can use your GPS to do that.
Oh, yeah.
The key to a successful educational vacation is to strike a balance between structured learning experiences and free time to explore and absorb the culture. It's important to tailor your activities to your specific interests and the destination's unique opportunities. So take advantage of all of them.
Absolutely.
And after you finish listening to this episode, be sure to visit our website. We're going to write up all of the show notes and have links to everything that we're talking about, so it's just really easy for you to access and reference. Every week, I like to create free resources that complement that episode, so be sure to sign up to our newsletter so you don't miss any of that exclusive content. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, we would love it if you went out there and gave us a thumbs up or even comment on the episode thread. So what are some of the best places to visit in the U.S. for an educational vacation?
I know when I was trying to find a list of like the top 5 education spots, I did not put the United States. So it immediately wanted us to go to Kyoto, Japan, and the Galapagos Islands.
Okay, I do want to go to these places.
Yeah, and Peru there. So I was like, that might not be in everybody. We just said we could do this in every budget. So
that might not be in the budget.
You might need to save up for that. But, you know, the United States offers a wealth of educational vacation destinations, catering to a wide range of interests.
So we came up with a list of 5 of the best destinations for an education vacation here in the U.S.
And number 1 is Washington, D.C., and I agree. You've been there too.
We have been there.
The nation's capital is a hub for history, politics, and culture. You can visit the Smithsonian museums, explore the National Mall with its monuments and memorials, tour the U.S. Capitol, learn about American government at institutions like the Library of Congress. And one of the best things about D.C., well, it has an energy, for one.
Yeah.
Like all the time. It's just a really exciting place to be. But almost all of those museums and monuments and everything are totally free.
They are hour-free, and it's right there on the river. And it's just beautiful there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it up there.
I love it. On our last trip there, we wanted to do a monument tour, but we didn't have time. We were there for an event, and so we had a lot of stuff going on during the day. So we signed up and did a nighttime monument bus tour, and it was amazing. I was like, oh, why did I even want to come during the day? Like, everything's so beautiful, and they would stop at different places. You could get out, you could do pictures. It was really cool, and you could bring like a picnic dinner. It was a lovely, lovely trip.
Okay, number 2 on the list is Boston, Massachusetts. With its rich colonial history and prestigious universities, Boston is a great destination for history buffs and scholars. Walk the Freedom Trail to explore historical sites, visit the Boston Tea Party ships and museum, and learn about American literature and culture at places like the Museum of Fine Arts and Harvard University. It's so beautiful up there in New England.
Yeah, I love Boston. I was there this summer while Jillian was at Riverdance camp, and I love it. Talk about like a walkable city too. It is really great. And that's what I did one night. I just walked and walked and walked and walked. I saw Paul Revere's house. I ate some really awesome seafood. I ate a lobster roll like every restaurant, every meal. So I love Boston. The next place is Colonial Williamsburg, Virginia. It's a huge living history museum where visitors can step back in time to experience life in the 18th century. You can witness historical reenactments, interact with costumed interpreters, and gain an understanding of American colonial history. You can also see blacksmiths. We talk about blacksmiths on this show a lot.
Yeah. All homeschoolers want to be blacksmiths when they grow up.
It's so funny.
Okay, the next one on the list is San Francisco, California. You can explore the history of the gold rush, the tech industry, and social movements in this vibrant city. Visit Alcatraz Island, the cable cars, the Golden Gate Bridge, and the many museums and cultural institutions, including they have the Exploratorium and the California Academy of Sciences.
Yeah, I went to San Francisco last year. I took the train from Denver to San Francisco. Talk about an educational vacation.
Yeah, I'm considering doing the train with Cameron next summer. He doesn't know this yet.
It was so fabulous. And San Francisco is a really cool town. And I used GPS My City to organize us into a nice walking tour there. We had a great time. Talk about hills. You know, we do our hill workout on Tuesday morning, but oh my God, the hills in San Francisco are something else. And then the next one just happens to be my hometown of Chicago, Illinois. Chicago's known for its diverse cultural institutions and architecture. The Field Museum, the Museum of Science and Industry, the Art Institute of Chicago are just a few of the educational gems in the city. Additionally, Chicago's architectural history is showcased through guided tours, river cruises. This is one of the places where I tapped in on my reciprocal science programs. Like, we saw all these museums and everything for free when we went a couple years ago. Also, one of the things I love about Chicago is that like every single cultural group has their own parts of town. So you want to go hear some live polka music and get some good beer and schnitzel, you go to Germantown.
Yeah.
I practically grew up in Ukrainian town, Yuki town. Every group has their own part and it's just full of culture. It's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah. Some other favorite places that I've been on our travels, like I mentioned, St. Augustine, Florida is a really great place to visit and get a lot of like really old historic sites in and hands-on museums. I used to live in New Orleans. That is a fun city to visit. And a lot of people think of New Orleans, you know, just for Bourbon Street, but it's actually a really great place to visit with kids. There's a lot of museums. There's a lot. The city park is beautiful. It's got a fairy tale garden in there that is really neat. And of course, the food is awesome. We mentioned national parks. The National Park Pass that fourth graders can get is a great way to get your family out and to see all.
Yeah, that lets everybody in, including that fourth grader, in for free, whoever's in the car.
And it's awesome. And at national parks and state parks, you can often work on junior ranger badges. So like the educational part is done for you. It's already ready to do. And speaking of badges, like we often pick those up. I have a scout, so she can put them on her vest. But even if you're not a scout, like that's a kind of a fun souvenir to pick up that almost every place has is little badges like with your destination on it. Fun to collect.
I also love national parks. They're so beautiful. I'm very into nature. We did that episode, Homeschooling in the Wild, I think is what we called it. And so we've explored a lot of that. A lot of times they're really cost effective, and I'm a single mom, so I'm always having to watch my budget. A couple years ago, we spent our entire school year studying the history of American music and celebrated the end of our school year by flying up to Michigan. We did a northern road trip up there. We visited Motown, and since I have a car enthusiast, we also spent time at the Henry Ford Museum, which was an incredible experience. I can't say enough great things about that. They even have an authentic Amish restaurant on the premises, and we drank authentic sassafras and food, and we also rode in a Model T Ford. We eventually made our way to Cincinnati to visit the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We had taken another trip at another time and visited Memphis. We went to Graceland and Sun Studios, and a lot of famous musicians recorded there, including Elvis Presley himself. My music lover is never going to forget that trip. One year we spent time in San Diego. I stayed with an old friend, an old homeschool friend actually, that had moved there, and she took us surfing, and it's just beautiful there. They have one of the best zoos, and we also spent time in Colorado. The mountains are absolutely breathtaking and something that everybody should experience. There's just so many really great things that we've done. Oh, New York. We did New York last year.
I've never been to New York.
It was really fun. We did all of the things. We did the Statue of Liberty, and we did all of the touristy spots, but we stayed right there in the middle of Times Square. And
nice.
We did Broadway
Nice.
and
Times Square.
So yeah, so whenever you're in these locations, it doesn't have to be like educational doesn't have to be a part of it, but it just naturally, organically becomes a part of your trip when you have kids and they're curious and experiencing these new things. So yeah,
take those opportunities.
This list is inspiring me to really plan my next trip.
Your next education vacation. I know. We have a trip coming up in the spring that I already am really, really thinking about what I want to do there. I think we're going to fly into a different city, take a train, do some fun stuff. But yeah, so anyway, these destinations offer a diverse range of educational experiences from history to science to culture, politics, and it makes them excellent choices for an educational vacation in the United States. But really, there's tons.
Yeah, and remember that the best place for an educational vacation depends on your personal interests and the subjects that you want to explore. Whether you're interested in history or science or culture or even a combination of all of these, there are numerous destinations around the world that can be an offer to enrich your educational experience.
Absolutely. So tune in next week. It's going to be episode 53, which is number 10 in our high school
How are we
series.
on 53? I don't even know how we've done. We're just pounding through these.
I know. That's like a year. Like we've been doing this for more than a year. I love it. Next week's episode, we're going to be talking about driving, independence, and life skills for teenagers. It's going to be a good one.
We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Be sure to check us out on our website at btdthomeschool.com, as in been there, done that, btdthomeschool.com. You can join our mailing list and get news and updates on future podcasts, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at the BTDT Been There Done That Homeschool Podcast.